What is up, guys? Welcome to another video. That Geeky guy here. Today we'll be looking at a classic battle deck, Rhinar versus Dorinthea. So this is something I'm really excited about because Flesh and Blood is basically branching out into different product variation. If you guys are my long-time subscriber, I actually made a video on this, I believe last year, where I talk about Flesh and Blood having to actually have different kinds of products, where special products such as battle decks, like the Pokemon battle decks, and then we have the versus decks like the one we have for Magic the Gathering. So this is pretty much something like that, and first I want to compliment the packaging. It looks really nice with the foiling and stuff. So I believe this is geared towards beginners because it is a blitz deck. So if we take a look at the back, we can see all the contents. So with some explanation of how the classes works, I want to make sure that it's focused there. So we have Dorinthea and Rhinar over this, where Dorinthea, of course, as the warrior class, focuses more on reprise. The Dawnblade are having those counters, and then so it's not really the camera. It's just because over this side the contrast is a bit lower because of the background. It's a bit dark. But I guess you could see that it says that Brute focuses more on Intimidate, and then some lore stuff, being the King of the Jungle, and also Strong Survive, another lore stuff. So it's a tool ready to play for the card Blitz deck, of course, including the weapon and stuff, equipment, and also a paper playmat, and we have a lore book. We're going to take a look at a bit. So I just want to make sure that you guys out there, especially if you're a newer player, I want to make sure that this is actually worth your money, especially if you are just starting out and you want to play Flesh and Blood with your friends or your siblings, on top of play at home or stuff like that, without needing to go to an LGS. Of course, you can just also jam it out with your friends, but this is just a product to get you started. I believe the price, I forgot how much the price is for this, the MSRP, but I bought it for approximately 200 Malaysian ringgit, which is equals to I believe 200 Malaysian ringgit would convert into about $50 US dollars. And I'm struggling to get this because it's breaking off every time I try to peel the stickers. The other side actually came out pretty easy, but on this side I'm actually struggling for a bit. Let's see if we can somehow create enough of an opening to actually force the... Oops, I actually accidentally ripped off the... This is what I wanted to do to get into the... As long as the box can close, I'm fine with it. It's going to go into display anyway. I'm not going to play this deck. I mean, you could, but you might want to actually modify and then... So this is the lore book. So we see Dorinthea on one side. Interestingly, it's upside down. So so this is the lore book. So I mean, some people maybe just they would buy the whole thing just for the lore book. There are some lore enthusiasts out there. You can see the family tree and stuff. So that's really cool. So this is the art for Singing Steelblade, iconic card, Dorinthea specialization. So this is the Dawnblade, basically some training, and then some lore, how Dorinthea became what she is. And then as we move towards the other side, I think there is some stuff for Rhinar as well. So if we go into this side, we see more about the Savage Lands and then all the creatures. I believe this was in the original lore book where they depict some of the monsters in Savage Land, stuff like that. So you guys can actually check those out by yourself. And then we have the playmat. So I'm not going to risk opening up the whole playmat, but it is the classic, I believe, classic design playmat, the brown one. So it is paper, as expected. Okay, now we're going into the deck itself. I'm gonna pop it out I like the packaging. I like the way they actually segmented the different stuff. And right off the bat, we actually get a look at the Brute deck. So this is the Brute deck. Then this would be, I don't know why I'm sliding it all the way over to the other side, but hell yeah, we got a Iron Rod foil, Iron Rod Helm, and a foil Bone Vizier. Right, so what we're gonna do is go through deck by deck, and then I'm gonna just give my thoughts as we go along. So this is one of those packaging where I usually use my teeth and just rip it open, but just gonna try to be civilized here and try to open it slowly, figuring out the best way to do this without actually damaging the cards, because I worry if I putting too much pressure. Right, so we do have an opening here, so that's good enough. That's good enough for me, as long as we can get access into that. So there are some I'm guessing someone actually asked if it's normal to have nicks on top of the cards, but from what I can see, the cards are pretty minty, so I'm pretty happy about that. So we're gonna take a look at the 40 card stack. I'm gonna go through the whole thing, and starting with Bone Vizier. So basically this is a way to, I believe, to opt. So you basically reveal the top card of deck. If it's 6 or more, put it at the top, otherwise put it at the bottom. So there are some it actually helps you with kind of know what is the top card. An opt, if you will, a worse version of, I believe, Talismanic Lens, if you want to put it that way, but it does have a block value, so it's not that bad. It's Blade Break though, so it's only one use. And then we have a nice Blossom of Spring. So this was leaked, I believe, a week ago by someone from, I'm not sure, I saw it on Twitter. So it has basically destroyed this grade. It's I wouldn't say instant tunic, but it is I would say a common tunic. In a way, by getting that resource. We have Ironhide Gauntlet, so you basically pay one, and so it works really well, I'm guessing. With I mean, you can't really use Blossom of Springs during your opponent's turn, so it doesn't work like that. Okay, so if you do have a full set of equipment, no majestic equipment, so all rainbow foils, commons. And then we have Rhinar. So Rhinar himself is actually a cold foil, if you guys can see. It is actually a cold foil, which is really nice to see. So this should be worth something. All right, a brief card, a full art, all grown up Rhinar, where we talk about intimidating, basically the mechanic for Brute. So a nice way to actually introduce newer players into this stuff. And then Bone Basher is a cold foil. Of course, beautiful card. Then let me just show you guys what it does. It's a very basic weapon with 2 cost attack. I believe it's a worse version of the Romping Club, so I would not recommend placing this over Romping. Just replace this with Romping and it should be good. And then we have Chief I hope I'm gonna pronounce this right. So this Chief Ruktan, gonna make sure focus into that. So it's a mentor card for Brute. It's a majestic. I believe you can have, yeah, you can have more than one copy of this. So you can have 2 copies of Chief. Should be good. So whenever it's face up in your arsenal, you play a card with 6 or more, intimidate, put a lesson counter, and then it's basically a way to do extra intimidation. And also you get to look for Alpha Rampage, which is a Rhinar specialization, which is basically this bad boy. You only get 1 copy of this, which is another majestic. So far we get to see 2 majestics. One is the mentor, one is Alpha Rampage. So if you want to upgrade this deck, of course, get another copy of Alpha Rampage. It's just that good of a card. So Beast Mode is something that costs 3. If you have intimidated this turn, Beast Mode gains +2. So Barraging Beatdown goes really well with this. So it's an auto +2. So you have 2 copy of those. And then we have Pack Hunt. So Bear Fangs. So Bear Fangs is from Everfest. Pack Hunt is from WTR. So Wild Ride, Wrecking Ball is a new one, I believe. So let's take a moment to appreciate Wrecking Ball. So if you attack with Wrecking Ball, draw a card and discard random card. If 6 or more discarded, so you get to Intimidate. So a way to intimidate once again. So combining this with the Mentor card, you basically stripping a lot of cards from your opponent's hand. So 2 copy of Wrecking Ball, Awakening Bellow. So this is another one, Intimidate +3. So 2 copy of those. Pack Call is something I believe most of the Brute players are really excited about, because whenever you defend this, it's basically a free opt kinda, because you're basically defending and also setting up, which is really nice. If I don't think there is blue Pack Call, unfortunately. So it's a 6 by itself, so you can actually discard this. It pitches for 2, pitches for yellow, cost 3 though. So usually you want to use this to defend to enable the opting. So that's good. Smash Instinct, pretty basic. Smash with big 3. We don't even get the flavor text this time around. It's basically a blank box. Muscle Mud is a 3 cost 6, which is pretty bad if you ask me. Smash with big 3 is would be better. So I can't, man, the artwork is so, I don't know how to put this, but so this is basically the ogre type monster. So it's a generic action. Interestingly, it's a generic one, so you can actually strip this out and put into your other decks if you want. You have a yellow Raging Onslaught, Wounded Bull. So these are all WTR stuff. Rally the Rearguard, Wrecker Romp. So these are our blues. Oops, I'm going too fast because I was expecting everything to be So we have a Clearing Bellow. So this is a blue Intimidate and go again. So it's a very I would say it's a very basic in its functionality, but pretty effective. I would prefer to have actually blue barraging if possible over this, but I guess if you want extra Intimidate, you could put this in. So if we look at barraging beatdown, it already has Intimidate, and then it gets this additional buff here, but it's not true for Clearing Bellow, unfortunately. This card could be better. I mean the artwork's great, but a more thought could go into this card. So this is a dodge, so it's a generic defense reaction. It's a blue, so in the future most likely we'll be able to see the yellow and the red version, but it's as generic as it comes without any additional effect. Worse than Sink Below and Fate Foreseen. I'm not sure, maybe if you want to go for control decks, you want to have just more defense reaction, is something you can put. But I really like the symbol that we have here. I wonder what that means. Does it signify anything? So this is something everyone was leaking 2 weeks, I guess 1 or 2 weeks ago. So it's Titanium Bauble, so a replacement, sort of a better version of Crack Bauble. Obviously it blocks for 3, it pitches for blue. What else can you ask? So I'm gonna put the deck here. So for Rhinar, we got all this beauty, which is going to go into my binder, of course. I'm gonna leave it right here. I'm gonna sleeve them up right after this. Beautiful art card. Let's put it right on top. So now I'm gonna head into the Dorinthea. Right. So we do have a slit here, interestingly. I didn't feel that in the... Right. Another thing that I like about this packaging is it does have some plastic, but really minimal. So good choice on that one. So we have a Iron Rod Helm. We have a Blossoms of Spring. We have a Gallantry Gold, would be the I guess the arm of choice, which makes sense. Even competitive decks, some of that actually uses Gallantry Gold. For those of you who don't know, it basically buff, you pay 1 and then +1 for your weapon. There you go. So we have a Iron Rod Legs. So interestingly, Dorinthea Quicksilver Prodigy is a Majestic. So the first time you're attacking with your weapon, which is specific to the Dawnblade Resplendent, it gains go again each turn. You may attack an additional time with it this turn. So the first time basically gains go again. So it's pretty neat. It has a built-in ability which is different from the previous Dorinthea. So this hero basically demands that you use the specific Dawnblade if you want to play her. Beautiful co-foil, always nice to see a co-foil, beauty. And then this is the Dawnblade Resplendent. So this is for the cost of 1, and then it basically costs 1 for 2. Not great, because similarly Dawnblade actually 1 for 3, but the second time you attack with Dawnblade each turn it gains +1, and you have natural go again with the young Dory here. So you can see where this is going. So some any cards that actually allows a weapon to go again is good with this deck. Okay, next we are looking at Hala Golden Helm. So this is a warrior mentor. I think most of you guys has already seen this artwork, which I really like. It's done by Federico Musetti. So Federico he does excellent artwork. You actually seen some of his work in some of the Guardian cards. I believe the card that he worked with, I'm blanking out, but there is a really cool card that he also did an art for, which is Mango. Yes, Mango is a card. So while this lady is face up, whenever sword attack against go again, and you get to put a lesson counter. But I think it's a bit of a redundant thing, because I mean, if you want to have many go against, you could play Hala in this deck, but I think it's not required because Dorinthea already gives her blade go again, so it's pretty redundant. And then we have Glistening Steel Blade. So this is a card everyone is chasing for if you want to buy this classic battle deck. I'm not sure if it's gonna be reprinted in the upcoming set Uprising, but of course Uprising is not gonna have this, so you're gonna have to wait another set if they're coming with another warrior hero, and then somehow they're gonna squeak in this Dorinthea specialization. But the only way to obtain this is basically from this classic battle deck. So this is a Dorinthea specialization, so that your next Dawnblade attack this turn has go again. So what you want to do is basically swing Dawnblade and somehow give the Dawnblade the ability to swing the second time, and it already has go again, and then Glistening Steel Blade and swing again, you have another go again. So whenever it hits, it has a +1 counter on it. So whenever your Dawnblade hits, it has a +1 counter, which is pretty scary. Imagine your blade hitting multiple times, you're gonna have multiple +1s. I think this is going to be really good. It's not restricted to the young Dorinthea, and I'm guessing this is going to be really a competitive card. It's going to be played in most of the upcoming Dorinthea competitive deck. So watch out for that card. Grab it while you can. Try to get the singles, but I doubt anyone buying the classic battle decks is going to want to give up on that, unless you can find some if you're super lucky. Then you could find the singles of it. And then we are looking at Engarde. So this is basically a common weapon buff. So your next weapon attack this turn, I am guessing a Sharpened Steel would be better because it costs 0. And then second swing is from Monarch, Warrior's Dweller, Sharpened Steel, there you go. So speak of the devil, we have basically +3. Much better version, this costs 1. So Run Through is a new card. So target sword gains go again. Your next sword attack this turn, +2. So this is basically a Blade Runner. It costs 1, so it's pretty similar to that. And then Trust, target sword attack gains +3. So it's a react. It's basically a Razor. I mean, a worse version of Razor. Yep. And then we are looking at, interestingly, it's a generic, so you can basically use this with any other hero if you want. I mean, what other hero actually depends most on weapons. Dorinthea is of course the best hero to use it. Iris of Response. So these are pretty okay. So we do have on a knife's edge. So your next sword attack this turn gains go again. Basically a very vanilla kind of go again. Also it's +2. So it blocks for 2. So we have Visit the Blacksmith. So this is another card. I just want to say the artwork looks really good. I love how you can see the artwork really evolves over time for Flesh and Blood. Now it looks really, I mean, really good. So the usual complaint previously was the artwork looks kind of same, but you can, from here you can basically see it's getting pretty good. It has, the artist has their own style from this, so this really looks like a really old oil painting kind of. So it says here the Nox sword attack this turn gains +1. So this is another very generic kind of card, so we might want to see the yellow and the red. And then Blade Flash, it's just a worse version of, I would say, the Dorinthea card, which I forgot the name, the one that gives go again, and also if your opponent blocks it, a reprise would be draw a card. So this is the worst version of that. Tough enough. So we have a generic defense reaction for 2. You're actually blocking for 4. So this is not really something that you want to play, I think. So we have Flock, and finally Titanium Bauble, Quicken, and a nice Dorinthea token card. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the content of the box. Let me know what you guys think. For me, if you are a new player, you want to get into the game, this is definitely a product I would recommend. Though it does need some upgrading, so this is something that you can start with. What I really like is you also have the access to all these cool, nice looking cold foils. So that's something that you, as a new player, even you can have something to look forward to. And other than that, the whole deck composition is great. I mean, it has enough blues and stuff. So, but make sure to replace some of the cards. I believe there are already a bunch of YouTube videos which talks about what cards need replacing. Same for the Brute deck. Do that, and then it should be a competitive Blitz deck. But for now, it's a bit lacking. But as for the value of $50, it's pretty good actually. 2 decks, you can play with your friends, you know, your siblings if you want to practice. So it's pretty good in that aspect. And one card I just I'm really scared of, because I do not play Warrior, but I do play against a bunch of Warrior. This giving a counter every time it hits is pretty scary. It basically forces your opponent to block. So thank you very much for watching, guys. See you guys in the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you know when I upload a new video. And if you want to support me on Patreon, the link's gonna be down in the description below. See you in the next one. Peace.